Hey everyone, welcome back to the Weekly Awakening Podcast. This is your host, Cosmic Colleen, back with another weekly astrology update. I'm going to bring the stars to awaken some things in your soul. This week, again, I know I'm a little bit late, but Wednesday, today, the moon enters Virgo and we begin the new moon energy. You could say the new moon is officially coming in Thursday, September 14th at 3:39 p.m. East Coast. One of the things about this new moon in Virgo is as it begins today, it will go opposite Saturn retrograde. So we know everything happening during this Virgo season has been going opposite Saturn retrograde. And then it conjuncts Mercury retrograde. And then on Friday, Mercury stations direct the next day. What time is that? At 4:21 p.m. So it's less than 24 hours from the official new moon. Mercury stations retrograde in Virgo. And like I promised a couple weeks ago, this Mercury retrograde has not been so bad. Mercury is exalted in its home sign. Again, it wasn't your typical Mercury retrograde. Anything that had a little bit of a Mercury retrograde flavor, like miscommunication or technology or things like that, anything that had that little bit of flavor, it was almost a really quick, like sudden turnaround, or people were okay with the switch up. I know that first week of Mercury retrograde at the salon, there were, of course, because it always happens, some issues, missed appointments, people put the wrong date, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was kind of like, okay, that's okay. I'll wait. I'll come back. They were flexible within that. So it was definitely a very flexible, mutable, supported Mercury retrograde. And it also was a lot about revisioning and refocusing and realigning, which we'll talk about when I talk about the new moon that is happening in Virgo. Now, last week, I just want to share this with Mercury retrograde. Oh my God, why am I yawning here? I got my coffee and everything. Mercury in Virgo, I'm a Virgo rising, Virgo moon, and I also have a couple Gemini placements. So Mercury retrograde, I really feel. Usually I run into people, there's some sort of reality or mind switch up that happens. And last week, I just want to share this with you guys. It was super interesting. I ran into last week 4 Virgo placements. 2 were 2 clients that I have not seen, one in almost 10 years, one in probably 6 years. And it was a great encounter. One I had left when I was working in Wayne and came out here, and another one, I can't remember why I stopped. Well, why I guess she stopped coming to me. But either way, it was great to see them and catch up. And then I ran into this guy I kind of know who lives way out in Chester County, and he does something with lawns. And I literally was like, who's this car blocking my road? And I looked up and I was like, oh my God, it's my friend Fernando. I can't believe it's him. I was beeping the horn and everything. And then 2 days later at the Giant in Wynwood, which is by my salon, I ran into another friend who was maybe a couple years ago a little bit of kind of a lover in a way. I mean, a semi-lover, not really much of a lover, but always a little bit of a flirt thing. And he would have no reason to be there. He just happened to be there, like trying to find a giant in an area that he was. And I was like, what are you doing here? I can't believe it. Isn't that crazy? That all happened within 3 days last week of each other. It was like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All of that happened. And the last time, like that doesn't happen really. Every couple years when Mercury retrogrades in Gemini or Virgo, it tends to really happen for me. Now, if you guys don't want to hear this, I would say fast forward 5 minutes and I'm going to get right back to all the predictions. But I want to share again, since I've been off of social media, it's officially been 1 whole week. I cannot believe it. I officially made it 1 whole week. And I just want to share, because I'm going to do a month of no social media. So each week I'm going to share a little bit about my revelations, my realizations, my awareness with this, as well as how I'm feeling, because it's not just me. I want to share this with you guys because this is something that we all have in common. We all use social media to distract ourselves, to, I don't know, I have a bunch of themes, as you guys know, and I want to tell you how I feel 1 week with 0 social media. Now, if you don't want to hear it and you just want to hear the astrology predictions, like I said, fast forward about 5 minutes. I don't think this will take more than 5 minutes, but if not, stay tuned. So I'm 1 week without social media. 1 week in, I feel like I'm still detoxing. One of the points to this was to sort of get myself back into realignment. And I'll talk about this with the new moon in Virgo that's happening. But with Venus retrograde this whole summer, I had a better idea about or not a better idea, like what I need to remove, what is distracting me, what's blocking me from really achieving and realigning with what I know in my soul that I want to do. And there was some confusion there. So my first initial idea was remove social media and take that out. And when I have time for everything else, for my mind to work. And I think at first I thought that like my ideas and my alignment and all those things were going to come right away in my mind and which way I want to take my path. That did not happen. It was really a week of detoxing my mind, body, and soul from social media. And I haven't really been doing much, but just being in the moment, which has been really, really present. And it's something I don't even realize, and we don't really realize how much social media affects us until we're outside of it. And especially for the people like me, the millennials, younger people who are on it, even if you're not posting about it all the time, you might be on it all the time, which is just can cause a lot of harm. And like I said already one weekend, I think we should all be required to do this once a year on social media. So I haven't checked my social media at all. And in the space, first of all, so right away I was detoxing. It didn't, all my life plans and where I wanted to go did not come this first week, which is okay because I knew my mind, body, and soul needed detox. So in space of social media, one of the things is you don't realize how much you use empty space when you're just a click. Just to click. Okay, I'm sitting here in the doctor's office. Let me click. Let me see what's in everyone else's world. Let me see what's happening. But when we're doing that, we are literally taking ourselves out of the moment. That's one of the big realizations I've had already. Each time, even if we think it's silly, we're taking ourselves out of the moment. And we might do in the doctor's office, but then we're starting to do it while we're waiting at our grandma's house or we're waiting for our parents to come down. And next thing you know, we're doing it, I don't know, easily 10, 15 times a day. And in space of that, in that empty space, I decided to read books, right? When I was sitting on the toilet, not to be too graphic, I was reading books. I cleaned. I was looking up cooking recipes. I went and got a pedicure, and in between writing, I was doing some astrology writing. I was just looking. I was taking in everyone. I was taking in everyone in the moment around me, and I was paying attention to what I was feeling, what I was thinking. Last week at the salon, someone I work with, he colored my hair. I had a free moment, and I didn't get on my phone then, and I was just being. I just said, I remember it was one of the first times I was like, I need a phone. I need something. I was like, you don't need anything, Colleen. You need nothing. And I sat there, and the guy that does my hair, he doesn't really talk a lot sometimes. Like I work with him. So he was in his own meditation, and I sat there and I was just nothing. I just listened to the sounds and I listened to my breath and let the thoughts come. And so doing nothing, like I said, it kept me in the moment when normally I'd be filling up that space on the phone. And we don't think it's that much, but yet we don't really see how much that is taking over our brain, because this is the next thing. There has been, so far, there has been zero busyness inside my mind and head. I can't even tell you. I didn't even realize how much mental space social media takes up in my head. And honestly, how it makes my emotions all over the place. I mean, I am telling you, I am so calm with zero worries and zero thoughts of anybody else inside my head. And I have been walking around with a level of calmness, and like, I didn't even know I didn't feel this calm, is what I'm trying to say. I'm a chill person. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm kind of crazy, but I'm also chill at the same time and pretty laid back with a lot of things. But I didn't realize how calm my mind, body, and soul would be. And I started feeling that almost right away. Almost right away. Very at peace. And when I didn't even realize all I'm going to say, and then we'll start. That's pretty much, I'm done for my awareness for this week, and we'll get into Virgo. But I can't get over, because when we're not taking in everyone else's stuff, right? That's just like I always say, we're scrolling through social media. How often you start paying attention to your thoughts when you start scrolling through social media. When you stop and read someone's post and look at it, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? The next post. How does it make you feel? The next post. How does it make you feel? What do you think about? What gets triggered? What kinds of things do you think about later on when you go after being on social media? Pay attention to those thoughts right now, because again, all this noise left my head, because once we even close social media, how many times are we then thinking, oh, so-and-so, they posted about that. I wonder if they've been posting about this person, or so-and-so, they were kind of weird to me, but now they're not even liking my stuff. So blah, blah, blah. So-and-so unfollowed me. So-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Or I can't believe that person posted that picture. Why would she do that? Or why is she getting divorced? Is she really there? All of that noise. And we don't even know how much our brain is taking in because it's not even showing us consciously how much it's taking in. A lot of it, or it's so overwhelming for our brain that we're just processing it. It's going into our subconscious. And again, the biggest thing this week is none of that noise has been there. And without that noise there, it has been so peaceful. So peaceful, my mind, body, and soul. So peaceful, I can't even get over it. I literally can't. So peaceful that this week I was like, maybe I'll never have social media again. Now, I don't know if that is true or not. However, I'm thinking maybe I'll go longer than a month. I don't know. Maybe I'll go longer than that. But pay attention today. That's where I want you to bring some awareness. When you're on your social media, how do you feel? With each post that you like, with each post that you scroll by, with each post that you purposely don't like, how do you feel and what are you thinking about when you close that social media app? Are all those thoughts still going on in your mind? And if it is, or you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, I welcome you to try to shut down social media. So that's been my first week of no social media, the realizations that I had. It's been incredible and it's been beautiful. And I'm really grateful I've done it. And again, I can't get over how much background noise is missing from my mind, body, and soul, and how much peace that alone has brought me. So much peace. Okay, that's my spew. Next week, I'll come back with another week of awareness with this. So we have the new moon in Virgo. Rebirth, redo, conclusion. The new moon will be happening around the time Mercury stations retrograde in Virgo. Like I said, less than 24 hours after the new moon. The new moon is Thursday, 9:39 p.m. And also, I forgot to add in from the beginning, this moon will go opposite Neptune. And a big theme about it will be getting past our own BS, but we're like already sort of really past it. I think I've been talking about this a lot with this season. Mercury retrograde for sure. Virgo season, but especially with Venus in Leo. And when Virgo season began, we're like about realigning our path. This summer we saw our distractions. We saw maybe what we didn't want, what we do want, what the ego wants, what the soul wants, all those things I've been talking about this past week. And so since the sun moved into Virgo and then Mercury retrograde in Virgo, it was about realigning ourselves with what we really want. Realigning ourselves with our desires and realigning ourselves with what matters. So now we have this new moon that's really bringing that rebirth of things that matter and that renew. This new moon's going to feel really good, even though it has that little opposition to Neptune. I think if anything, it's going to be like a healthy, disassociating type of energy. I don't think anything explosive, nothing explosive is going to come from that or from this new moon. New moons in general are very calming, and they're also represent new beginnings, planting new seeds, starting new. But this has a little bit, like I said, for me, a conclusion to your own BS and something that is freeing your mind so you can realign even harder and work towards that goal even harder. Now, some things since Mercury moved into retrograde and began this. With Neptune adding there, we're having that added to seeing our own illusions, our own delusions, and our own BS. But in this way, like, I see you over there, that little personality of Colleen, I see you over there, but like, that's just an illusion. That's a vision. That's something I created to protect myself. That's something I created out of fear. Things like that. That's sort of your own personal BS you're now seeing. Or maybe you really saw it and you're ready to sort of conclude that, bury it, and then plant something new within yourself. So this is going to be about the stories we've been telling ourselves that have been slightly skewed. I know last week, the last couple of episodes, the themes of astrology have been around that. We're revealing these truths to ourselves. These are going to be some of the truths that you might be revealing to yourself. What keeps us stuck in a self-destructive loop? I think this summer that really sort of came up for a lot of people. Maybe you saw it with yourself. And self-destructive loop, it could just be the words that you tell yourself. It could be that self-deprecating or that lack of self-esteem, those truths you tell yourself. I'll never be able to do that. I'll never look like that. I'll never do this. I'm not good enough. Those are self-destructive loops that keep you. They keep you at that vibration you're at right now. They keep you from breaking out of new cycles. They keep you from breaking out of these loops and transforming. Because you can be and have and want anything that you think that you are, that you believe within yourself, but it's these self-destructive loops that keep us there, and they're tricky. They are tricky. I've been reading this book. One of the books I've been reading this week is about the subconscious and the mind. It's from a neuroscientist. It's a green book. I'm forgetting. I don't have around me what it's called. It's like you can relearn your mind or something like that. And reading about the things that go on, and I'm also reading it to my kids at night. They're like, why are you reading this to us? I'm like, because I wanted to go to your subconscious. And last night, of course, we're reading about, like, we really only consciously are like aware of our daily movements 5%. The rest is unconscious. So these self-destructive loops, we get peeks into them. We get awareness when that mind, when you stop and say, is that why I'm doing that? Or someone gives you some truth that you didn't want to hear, and then later on you're like, oh, I needed to hear that. I brought you some awareness. Those little times, we want to grab onto those and hold on, because that is what breaks us out of that self-destructive loop. Now, another question. What truths am I not willing to look at? That's a big one this week that's going to come up with a new moon. You're not scared to look at that truth anymore. Whatever truth you were afraid to look at, again, within yourself, within someone else, within a work, within a job, any of those truths you're not willing to look at, you're going to be willing to look at with this new moon. And throughout the week and the rest of the weekend, you're finally like not scared of it. You understand that seeing that truth, getting that awareness sets you free and brings you to the whole other side of the mountain. That mountain that you don't know how to climb over, that mountain that scares you, that truth will bring you to the other side. They didn't come up with that saying, the truth will set you free for nothing. That's one of the truest sayings out there. The truth will set you free. It sets me free all the time. It sets lots of people, but it's the fucking scariest thing to do. And the hardest thing to do is sit there and look at your truths. I promise you that. But once you do it, and then you feel that feeling afterwards, and you say, okay, I didn't die from looking at this truth, and I feel so good and free right now, it becomes addictive, and it becomes less scary. And again, that's how we break out of these cycles. We need the truth to break out of the cycles. And here's the last question that maybe really came up for you over Mercury retrograde, and now you're going to start with a new beginning from here. What's holding us back from vibrating at our highest self? That's another thing. Every morning I have it written on my board, allow me to show up in my highest self today. And what are we holding, what's holding us back from vibrating at our truest self? It could be a toxic pattern. It could be a drug. It could be alcohol. It could be something that's not healthy for ourselves, that may be done in moderation is okay, but done all the time is not healthy for ourselves. So what is stopping you from vibrating at your highest self? Is it resentment? If you feel resentment, if you feel anger towards someone, that's going to certainly not keep you vibrating at your highest self. Not at all. I know it's hard. People sometimes love to come to me about times that they have resentment, and sometimes they hate it because I don't co-sign their resentment bullshit. I do. I can say, all right, well, you're in the moment right now, and I understand what you're feeling, blah, blah, blah. But resentment, it hurts you, not the other person. Resentment holds you back from vibrating at your highest self. So you're telling me that this person over here who doesn't even care that you're feeling all these things, you're going to keep feeling them. All that's doing is holding you back and restricting you. So what is holding you back from vibrating at your highest self? Those are those questions that probably came up in some small ways, some big ways for all of us. And really reflect on that with this new moon, especially with Mercury retrograde stationing direct right after. So we got a lot. It's going to be a very good vibe. The end of the week, the weekend. Like I said, September is a slow moving little train in a good way. The stress of those things that maybe happen before the awareness too. And to add to these questions, the stress of those things maybe happen before the awareness is mostly gone now, and we feel kind of comforted in our new vision. So like I said, after we get the awareness, maybe you guys already had the awareness. Do you know what I mean? How you feel like anxiety and emotional stress and all these things, and then you get new awareness, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, I don't even know why I'm stressed about that, or why am I worried? Because now you're comforted in your new visions. You got past some of that loop, and now you're comforted in that new vision. almost maybe feeling a little silly that you ever felt dazed, lost, and confused, because you now see and feel so clearly. And I know we've all been there where it's one week we're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, where I'm going, what's happening. And then we have the clear vision and it's like, oh, that was silly. I don't even know why I was doing that. So with this new moon, we want to honor this clear vision. I want you to take 5 minutes, close your eyes, and envision yourself an eagle looking down with a clear eagle vision, right? Up there high and looking down, it's got that sharp vision and knows exactly where it wants to go. And you, when you do this, again, all it needs is 5 minutes. You can put a binaural beat, a frequency. You can just like do it with the birds in the background. Close your eyes and you are that eagle. Imagine yourself flying high, but you're looking down, illuminating the path down, feeling so free and clear, almost like you have fire beams of bright, beautiful white light going down. You can see directly where your path is, and you're almost blazing the way. You're almost blazing the way. Now, that's just sort of the direction where I want you to take it. You're the eagle. You have that eagle sight looking down, and you're flying high, feeling free. Now, within that space, with this 5-minute meditation, whatever comes to you, that is sacred to you. So whatever you see, whatever comes to you while you're that eagle, those are some things, some answers coming up from your subconscious. Those are some things that you need to slow down and look at. But that's all. Anything that comes to you, just go with it. And then afterwards, write down what came to you before, during, and after this meditation, this eagle. Was there any blocks on that path as you were flying and soaring high? Or was it smooth and free? Or did you see something on that path that got illuminated that you didn't even know that you maybe wanted in your life? What came to you? Write that down. And then, write down now another paper and write down what that vision looks like. What does your new vision look like? What do you want your new vision to look like? So if you've maybe not sure what that vision is after this, you can write down, what do you want now? Or what do you want that new vision to feel like? What do you want to feel like when you're in that new vision? So we're going to write down after the 5 minutes of meditation, and all of you can at some point within, tonight into Friday morning, five minutes. Okay, that's your homework, baby. 5 minutes. And write down what came to you in that meditation afterwards, and then write down, what is your path illuminated? What does that look like? What new beginnings, what brand new illuminated beginnings are you going to be starting on this path? Whew, that is so good, guys. Again, I feel so good. Don't forget today, this next week and the next week, to pay attention every single time you use social media, before, during, and after, to see how you feel and see what you're feeling. Because the noise that I don't feel is almost worth never having it again, is all I'm going to say. And I'm not even being dramatic. I love you guys. Have a beautiful new moon. And I hope that the path is illuminated brightly for you, and you break out of all your loops and you realize the bad bitch that you are. I love you guys. Have a beautiful week and a beautiful new moon in Virgo.